I'm sorry, but because of the size of this lesson, I had to break it up into two parts. This is the second part that will continue. So we had the colors and the adjectives in the first part, and then we will have um, these articles and question words in the second part. And I will have a little bit of a review at the end. Okay, we're going into the part of the lesson that deals with two types of articles, artículos. These are words that come before nouns. And they can be definite and they can be indefinite. We will explain that and we will compare Spanish and English in this regard. Not to overburden you with grammar, a lot of grammar anyway, but a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. The thing that's different in Spanish and something that will give you fits to some degree is that every noun, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, is masculine or feminine. And then it can also, of course, be singular or plural. All nouns you need to fit into one of these categories, and the words around the nouns have to agree with whatever the noun is, masculine, feminine, singular, plural. There has to be complete agreement. This is not something you worry about in English. We will be talking about two different types of articles, definite and indefinite. And it's relatively simple to understand. We have definite and indefinite articles both in English and Spanish, and they're used in a similar way, although Spanish has that concern of gender and number agreement that we do not have to worry about in English. But the concept of articles and the concept of some being definite and some being indefinite exists in both languages. Here are our options. We have one definite article in English. It is the or the. And we have four in Spanish. They are for the masculine, el, or plural, los, and for feminine, la, and plural, las. So it's four options in Spanish to one and only one option in English. For every noun, we would say the, if we want to use a definite article. In Spanish, you have to determine which of the four you're going to use for the given case. Note our distinction here in these articles of clothing. El sombrero, los sombreros, singular versus plural. La camisa, las camisas. We're going to la and las because camisa is feminine and we have singular and plural, la and las. Back to masculine, el gorro, los gorros. La falda, las faldas. La bufanda, las bufandas. El traje de baño, los trajes de baño. La camiseta, las camisetas. Here we have indefinite articles, which, as in English, they refer to any person as opposed to a specific one. Any person, place, or thing as opposed to a specific one. So we'll be showing you how to do these as well. Here are 4 indefinite articles: un, masculine, singular; unos, masculine, plural; una, feminine, singular; and unas, feminine, plural. Many times the last letter of the noun will tell us which way to go in terms of masculine or feminine. Most nouns that end in O will be masculine, so you will use a form of the article that is masculine, el or los, un or unos. Nouns ending in A are most typically feminine, so we'll use a feminine article: la, una, las, unas. While there are tons of nouns that end in O or A in Spanish, and that obey the masculine for O and the feminine for A rule, there are other endings, and there are a few rules that can help you decide which way to go. Okay, now we're going to move on to palabras interrogativas, the words we put at the beginning of preguntas, of questions, when the question is not a yes-no question, but an information question. A question like why, how, who, all of those. ¿Qué? 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 ¿Quién? 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 ¿Cuándo? 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 ¿Dónde? 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 I want to pause here to point out that all question words, if you haven't noticed, have an upside down question mark before them, and they also include an accent mark. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántos? As in, ¿cuántos sombreros hay? ¿Cuántas ¿Cuántas corbatas hay? Note that we changed the OS to AS for that. ¿Cuántos zapatos hay? ¿Cuál? 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 ¿De quién? ¿De quién? As in, ¿de quién es el sombrero? Whose hat is this? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? As in, ¿de dónde es Mario? ¿De dónde es María? ¿Cómo? 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 We'll be using all of these question words more and more as we learn new sets of vocabulary and las preguntas claves, the key questions that go with them. One of the key questions that you do use when you are wanting descriptions is como. Remember, we saw como es Shaquille O'Neal. What is he like? Give me a description. Como es Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc. When we need a description, we say como es. Okay, amigos, let's review what we've covered today. We learned about adjectives, especially the ones talking about physical characteristics. We practiced them with opposites, and we also learned how to answer the question, ¿Cómo es somebody, with a description, with an adjective. And we have to make the adjectives agree with whatever they describe in gender and in number. We'll be practicing that a lot. We learned about colors, which obey those same rules because they are also adjectives. We learned the basic colors, and we were able to practice with those. We could combine those, for example, with clothing that we learned last week. We learned the question words for the types of questions where you cannot get away with answering yes or no. You have to give information. And then we learned that nouns in Spanish, unlike English, have gender. They are either masculine or feminine, all nouns, and then they are either singular or plural, of course. And the articles, the two types of articles, both the definite and the indefinite, have to agree with the noun that follows them. We will be seeing that a whole lot because that pretty much happens in every sentence that you might say. So be sure to go over this as many times as you need to. Check out the extra resources that are on the site and practice. And then go back. Also, don't forget to go back over the things we've studied in previous classes so that that doesn't disappear from your memory. Hasta pronto.